Thank you, brother. Appreciate you bringing me on and pronouncing my name correct.
Of course. No, I made sure to ask you ahead of time and we're good to go. But first question for you here, as you see this attack really starting to play out there, Iran actually firing on Israel, what's going through your mind watching that from here in the U.S.?
A lot of things. I can't help but think that this did not happen under Trump. I tweeted earlier today, I could use a couple of mean tweets about now, or the world could actually, I think I said. But the reality is that, you got to look at the whole complexity of this situation, how this started, how Iran was allowed to function again. Prior to Biden, Iran was almost bankrupt because of the oil situation. We'd shut that down. And then we freed up $7 billion. And you can argue whether it was their money or not. I don't care. They want to destroy America. They want to destroy Israel. They're on the list as far as I'm concerned. And we keep trying to bring these people to the table, and they're bad actors. And we need to realize that. And then fast forward now, they're cranking out about, I think, 2.5 million barrels a day. And that is really what's funding. And everybody wants to concentrate on the $7 billion. Well, that's a drop, no pun intended, but that's a drop in the bucket compared to their oil production. And then you have to look at where their oil is going. Their oil is going to China. And China is one of their biggest consumers. Now, when we had the embargo, we were stopping all that. There was none of that. And that's where we need to be. And no one fired a shot. We used our economic might to stop this. And that's our real strength. And we never want boots on the ground. I know you didn't ask for all that, but I've studied this for years, and I'm on the Foreign Affairs Committee, and I'm briefed with stuff that a lot of people aren't. So I followed this very close. And so now, under this, with all the, I think it shows clear the Israelis here in the fact, not literally, not is a lot going on. A lot of our allies have been taking part in knocking them. Thank goodness that we had.
And that was going to be my next question for you. What does all of this show about the importance of the funding for the Iron Dome?
Well, it's keeping us out of a world war, and it's keeping a world war from. Imagine if we didn't have the Iron Dome, if we didn't have the cooperation of people like Jordan and some of the others that are where this is going through, and these missiles are allowed to be knocked down, or drones or what have you. Israel would have to retaliate with vast, superior military. And then we'd have to make a decision. That's how World War happens. The Iron Dome has stopped a war.
And it sounds as though the House is going to take up the foreign aid bill now next week. Did this attack, and I think I know the answer, but did it really speed this whole situation up? And what's the likelihood there of everything actually moving through the House successfully?
Well, there's two different courses. The Democrats, of course, want to tie Ukraine funding, which I still think that's Europe's war. It's not our business. And again, we funded both sides of that to the gas situation with Russia, and then, of course, sending money to Ukraine. They're going to try to tie all those together. I would hope we do independent bills and vote over to the Senate. Of course, that would take care of Israel. And of course, Schumer has chosen not to take that up. And the national media, outside of you all, has pretty much ignored that fact. So I think we need to take a serious look at this, but I think we need to message it correctly. This is not about Ukraine. This is not about Russia. This is about the Middle East, and we need to address our anger towards them. And if we're going to spend money, that's where it needs to go.
You have Iran and its leaders, its officials there, who are warning the U.S. not to get involved in this, not to back Israel. They've made a lot of comments today. Your thoughts overall? Does Netanyahu, does Israel really care what Iran is threatening? Does Biden care? Does the U.S. care?
I think the only people that really care are the people that own stock and missile defense systems, honestly, because now they're going to see more profits, obviously, which I don't like. We have members on both parties that are invested in these, and it's public record, so that's no big news. But I think eventually we've got to address the fact that Iran is a bad actor, and they don't need to be sitting at any table, especially dealing with nuclear arms. And I think too, you have to look at the United Nations at some point. I mean, it is a toothless tiger. I mean, it's a toothless pussycat. It's really what it is. It's not anything. And this whole thing should have been avoided. It could have been avoided, and we have no clear leadership. And our president hasn't even addressed this. He was asked, and what should Iran? Don't. And then 2 days later, of course, this thing happens. It shows you our enemies don't fear us, and unfortunately, a lot of our friends, or used to be friends, don't respect us anymore. And this could have been stopped. It could have been avoided, and it should have been. Iran should be bankrupt right now. And of course, it's just their leaders. It's not their people. I'm sure they're suffering immensely. They have no idea. All they're told their whole lives that Jews are bad and America's bad and so on and so forth. So, we're not ever going to change that over there. But I think we can remove some of their military viability, and we should.
My last question for you here. What is, in your opinion, in your mind, Israel's next move here?
I think eventually we've got to, of course, everybody's going to want to go the peace route, and I get that, but economically, we should shut them down. Our president, our leadership should say no more. We're not going to allow for this. It's sort of a complicated process. The tankers are insured through American companies and things like that. And if they don't have the insurance, the tankers won't float. They won't go. And so we could stop that tomorrow if the president would do it, but he won't. Again, we're not negotiating from strength. We're actually negotiating from a system of weakness. And I think we need to use our economic might and put an end to this thing right now. And we could shut it down tomorrow.
All right. Representative Tim Burchett, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today and help discuss this. Anything else you want to add about any of this before I let you go?
I would just do two things. People ask me what's the most important thing they can do. First, pray. Second, vote. 15% of the population or less votes. And that's why we got somebody in the White House who can't find the soft serve ice cream machine.
All right. Thank you again for taking the time to be here with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. It's my pleasure.